Okay, I'm starting the stream now. Hey guys, welcome to I believe this might be the last live stream for Resurgence for quite a while because this series is actually ending pretty soon, or at least going on a pretty large hiatus, just because I'm starting to run out of planets to explore. So I already did a whole lot of interstellar missions that I haven't uploaded yet, but I got a whole lot of science, including unlocking some warp drives. I don't have enough to unlock the 3.75 meter parts because I lack 2000 science, but the parts I do have should be more than enough to construct our very first warp ship. So I've explored the chaos system, the Hades system. I haven't uploaded any content of the Hades system just yet, but it's in the backlog. I'll probably get to uploading it within a few weeks. By the way, next week's video will be a Resurgence episode. I have a Wayfinders episode scheduled for tomorrow, in fact. So, with Blueshift, making warp ships is actually a little more difficult than you would think. So I actually constructed this prototype. It's basically Excalibur, but I stripped the back off of it, and I'm going to put warp drives on it instead. So this is our go hit, big, go home approach. If we really want to make a massive warp ship, first we need this warp core and a bunch of gravimetric generators too, because it's a really big craft. Then the Mark III warp rings, the biggest I got, so I might as well spam a bunch of those. I'm also gonna need some deuterium and graviolum, because that's how warp cores and Blueshift work. I actually made a custom config which allows these logistics containers to hold graviolum. It's a little scuffed so the bar won't show, though it does count as a resource on here. It's got a Blueshift. It has a max warp speed of 3.737 C, or 3.37 times the speed of light, with a range of 0.2 light years, which is enough to reach the Anubis system where I plan to go to next, but not really return. If I add more graviolum, it practically doubles it. I'm not sure how accurate this reading is, but I would like to test this. Could you name it the Nebulon? Ooh, that's actually a really good name. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do this. I was also thinking of the Ultimatum, but Nebulon sounds nice. Let's make a smaller prototype ship. Oh, and also, this warp ship has to be able to carry a couple of spacecraft, including the Helion X, which is basically a new and improved model of the Helion that's made to land on a much more hostile planet, that being a Sobek, I believe it's called. Now, Sobek actually has 1.4 atmospheres, and I think it was like 1.4 Gs and like 1.8 atmospheres, I can't really remember. But it has 1.4 Gs, so I need more engines, and I had to upscale these a little bit more. They're still smaller than they are without tweak scale, but they provide a lot of thrust. I also gave it VTOL engines, so it's gonna have to carry that. I also designed a lander. Oh, wrong. The Land X. Basically, it's a very high ISP lander because the first planet of the Anubis pulsar system is Neith, which has a 1.8 G, so it's way worse than Tylo. Thankfully, this has a really good TWR and lots of Delta V, so it should have no problem. It also has a pretty cool docking port here. I should also probably put some kind of Mog repellent on this, just because I should do it before I forget. So these are the two spacecraft we're going to have to carry on the warp ship. never seem to make Tylo landers. Well, maybe it's because you need to do some weird asparagus staging. Maybe you're just not using the right type of engines. If you're doing a modded playthrough, if you want to get a Tylo lander, I suggest using a... I recommend using this engine from Kerbal Atomics, but if you're using a stock playthrough, you might want to try using a bunch of asparagus staging, which basically involves using fuel lines into couplers to massively boost your delta V. So, of course, I'm going to put a science lab on this, should I use this one from DSEV? It has a 4... Hold up, what's the... Science lab, how much? 500 data, this is... I was hoping it'd be like the OBT labs that, like, give me tons of science really quickly. But to be honest, I don't really need that because I have a new mod called Automatic Lab Housekeeper that makes it really easy to transmit science. You just gotta time warp it. It does it automatically for you. It's really convenient. One of the best quality of life mods I've used. Should probably put some kind of habitation on this. I gotta be really careful with mass because the more perks I add, the more mass it'll take up and the more graviolum I'll need. Another thing I'm worried about is that graviolum is really expensive. Like I have this large tank, fill it up. It's quite expensive, but I'm planning on a science playthrough, which basically means I don't have to worry about any kind of financial stuff. But I don't want to cheat all of this in just because I feel like it would be a little bit cheeky and not the best. But I mean, at this point, I really don't care that much. Yeah, I'm not sure. Should I do like a really big warpship? I want to go big. Go big or go home. I'm probably gonna use the Almathia for this. No, actually, wait. No, we got a better idea. I'm gonna start using these parts from DSEV. A little bit older, but another cool name is a Valkyrie. Yeah, that's a pretty nice name, I must say myself. Get the docking port. Wait, actually, no. I'm gonna have a... Wait, I got a better idea. Hold up. There's an inline version of this. I'm gonna have my laboratory out here. I mean, I just kind of want to have it consistent, so I'm just gonna use all the DSEV perks for this. I mean, I don't think it has FreeIVA support, but I really don't use FreeIVA that much. I could use a station cores, but I won't try using these parts. I'll put a greenhouse 2. Yeah, habitat. This is our little thing. I'm not gonna have any gravity rings. You know, actually, if I'm going big, I should. You know what? I should actually have some gravity rings. I'm going big or going home. I mean, these gravity rings are really big. I mean, DSEV has gravity rings of their own, but I'm not sure if I like the way they look. Yeah, to be honest, I feel like a FreeIVA tour would be nice, so I'm just gonna stick to the stock, like, station Redux parts. I mean, I don't really do FreeIVA tours a whole lot in my videos, but I feel like that would be a nice thing to have, because a whole lot of other YouTubers do it. I think about using the smaller gravity rings, because I'm probably not gonna take like 50 Kerbals on this thing. And having 2 of these, like I have an Excalibur, is just a little bit overkill, I would say. What I did with Excalibur is I took 2 of these rings, rotated this 45 degrees, and then clipped it in here to create one big unified ring. Looks really nice, but not really friendly with FreeIVA. I'll probably put the gravity ring back here. What should I do? I want to have a particle collector of some sort. Should I add a particle shield? I mean, I could add a Sterling super heavy shield, but that add a whole lot of mess because it literally says in the game "super heavy." See, look, it has like... it almost doubles the weight. So I feel like I should use a mirror shield because they're a lot lighter. But I don't know what shape I should use. Maybe I should use circle, triangle, but hexagon. Yeah, I like this triangle shape. I'll use this. It matches a gravity ring also. Of course, I do want to add these particle collectors because I actually put these on Excalibur. Sort by mass, yeah, that would work. I also use these particle collectors from Impulse Party because I actually put these on Excalibur on an expansion module, and refueling is actually really easy. I probably put 3 of them just because I put like 8 of them on Excalibur, use part clipping, and I must say refueled a little too quickly. So I'm just gonna add only 3 on the front for now. I feel like this looks a little short and stubby. I'm gonna add a few more parts to this. Or maybe I can have it like this is at the back, and it's like it's a pole design. Oh, I got an idea. I do want to have my greenhouse though. Greenhouse, not greenhouse. My aquaculture module. I also do have a hub to allow docking of all sorts of various craft. I'm probably gonna have like 2 1.5 meter docking adapters. That's what a docking port gives me all these other engines. I'm also gonna have some 2.5 meter docking ports in case I want to add some expansions onto this. Because this series is kind of ending or going on a hiatus soon after I visit Anubis. Because after that, in this install, I have no destinations left to visit. However, both planet packs I'm using, which are Cosmic Serenity and Celestial Harmony, are currently unfinished, so they will get more star systems in the future. So KSP Resurgence will likely end, but then be replaced with a new series afterward. I think will be pretty cool. Add little tubes to give you a little bit more filler. I'll start with using some tweak-scaled angular trusses just to fit with the form factor. I'll have a few of them. I'll add an adapter. Here we go. I might want to tweak scale this up just a little bit. That seems good. I'm gonna have a fusion reactor. Put a fusion reactor in here. It's gonna run on deuterium and helium-3. I mean, I'm not sure if I really need a fusion reactor of this caliber, but I mean, I still want to have one because some of the engines I might use might need a lot of electricity. Also, I will need a secondary fusion tank because the warp core I'm using will use deuterium, but only deuterium. You put the centrifuge sideways like the USS Enterprise. That would be cool. Besides, with the Impulse Party, these engines are kind of like inspired to be like the Star Trek-y engines, kind of like inspired by Star Wars, Star Trek. I mean, I don't really want to copy the USS Enterprise, but I mean, that would be cool. That'd be a cool thing to do eventually. I never really got into Star Trek, but I might want to start watching that. I'll call this the Nebulon for now, because that is my channel name, Nebula. Now this will be where the warp setup is. Flag 6 warp core. Won't detach for some reason. There we go. Put a gravimetric displacement generator 2. These warp rings to be blocked by the. I'll use this. Should I use a size 2 warp ring? Or how about use the MK3 one? 3 pylons. I mean, it's just barely occluded by the. I'll just scale this up a bit more. Not scratch it. I'll just scale this down to 80%. Oh wait, I don't even have graviolum on this. Hold up. I could do this with radial mounts. Oh, I gotta fill these up because they spawn without graviolum. You're supposed to find it. I mean, I could go mining for some, but I really don't want to. Besides, I'm not sure if Celestial Harmony has any bodies with graviolum. I did explore. There is some lurking about, but I can't seem to harvest it from orbit. You know, with just one gravity ring, you can actually go pretty fast and pretty far with only these tanks. So I'm not going to use these tanks. Instead, I'll use my custom config ones. I'll use this, holding graviolum. It holds. I'm going to get a couple of these. It travels a little bit slower because these tanks are a little heavier. Actually, wait, it was that. I think it was a little slower. I think it was 6 light years before 6 Cs. You know, it's 0.63 light years. I can go to Anubis and back twice, apparently, which is good. I like that. I should probably also add like a window back here because I think that'd be pretty cool. Now, this won't be able to travel that far without, this won't be able to travel far without any form of, propulsion, because it needs sublight propulsion. These, have the personal inflatable centrifuge sideways. That works. I saw some guy do that in a video once. Sorry, I'm not checking my chat that often. The biggest inflatable. I'm sorry, I'm sneezing a lot today. Oh boy. Yeah, I saw someone do that in a KSP RSS video. That'd be something really cool I'd like to do. Now, these warp rings won't work when you're really low, close to a planet, so I'm going to need some form of sublight propulsion. So I'm thinking of using the Impulse Party engines, just because they offer a lot of ISP and they just work. Like, say the Excalibur with its antimatter engine has way more delta V, but you need a whole lot of antimatter factories and a whole lot of stuff to get that to work. All the Impulse Party ones, it just works. Now, let me see. Do I have enough electricity? 8,000 a second. This one takes 3,000. I might need to get another fusion reactor. Oh wait, these are. Hold up. Needing an adapter for this. RTWR with only 3 of these engines might be a little lackluster. See, this gives us like 40,000 meters per second. Oh wait, it actually gives us pretty good TWR. And this is in Geeth's orbit. Sanctar gives us a lot more. This is actually a pretty lightweight craft, I have to say, but I think we will need a slightly upscaled fusion reactor, because this offers 8,000. These use 3,000, and 3 of them, that's a little bit more, so, I'm gonna give us a little bit more of a tankier reactor. Might as well buff the amount of fusion fuel we have also. Oh, of course we gotta put a radiator on this. That's not enough. How about a second pair? I mean, I think I only need 3. Yeah, I'll just happily just use the smaller ones. I want it to be symmetrical. I want it to be like 2 on 2, just because I think it looks cool like that. Okay, this is a self-cooling reactor, being enough to power these engines. I mean, 40,000 meters per second may not seem like much, but we're going to be using this warp drive a whole lot, and it's still slower, and our range somewhat suffers after we boosted our systems. Maybe we should buff it a little bit more, maybe add another gravity ring lower down the line. Okay, this actually has a lot of range. Oh wait, also I need some kind of static charge. This needs to be able to turn static charge. The warp drives generate static electricity that if it's full it won't work. So you gotta add a couple of these to be able to dissipate that. I'll put them directly on the warp unit. I'll just do it like this and just rotate them. I feel like in terms of graphics, Blueshift is the best Warpship mod, because it adds a bunch of stuff with waterfall and Firefly to add some really cool effects to your spaceship. Now this is going to be my first test run. Now this is a lot of graviolum, really expensive. Oh, I should also put a probe core on here, maybe some form of RCS. Oh, I need communication also. The stuff you always forget. I also gotta make sure Helium X fit in my lander fits on these docking ports. Oh hey, the real Jacob Cooley, welcome to the chat. I'm currently constructing a warp ship that can go to a pulsar system and hopefully return in a really fast manner, because it is faster than light. Takes 5,000 years to load just because it's a Kerbal space program we're talking about. Shake set orbit. Now, this will not work. Oh. Oh, hello. It's a mirror shield after all. Oh, wait, you need to put reaction wheels on this. It won't move. It also has this really cool effect. Might as well start charging up this reactor. Wait, do I even have batteries? Oh wait, I don't. You know, I'm actually gonna fix these issues. Add reaction wheels and batteries. I should also probably put some kind of conformal decal label on this, because that's what I always do. I'll just place a few of these guys. These contain a good amount of electric charge. Oh, and also, yeah, quick side note, need reaction wheels. Just a few of them will work. Should also probably put some plasma RCS on here. Plasma RCS, just gotta search. These ones from Far Future Technologies. They're the most efficient RCS blocks when they run on hydrogen. But they're somewhat low thrust. This should do. I'm only gonna use this for like brief maneuvers. Should I put more hydrogen on this? I'm gonna put more hydrogen on this because getting hydrogen is actually pretty easy. Build up. I'm not gonna use two of these tanks. I'm gonna use one big one. This is gonna be very lopsided, hold up. Now, getting hydrogen is actually pretty easy, especially, I actually refueled Excalibur for our future lithium RCS. I used that, but with hydrogen. I mean, I'm not gonna add any lithium tanks on this just because at this point, all the main engines I'm using will be using hydrogen. I mean, I'm not gonna be using that same lander I used with my Chaos System Grand Tour, but I will use that in my Hades Grand Tour, which I actually already have recorded. I'm also thinking about making a colony on a habitable world, but not using Kerbal Colonies, just because I wanna be able to launch Kerbals directly from interstellar destinations without the need of having to like send them there first. I suppose my headcanon is that they have jump gates, which actually are from the Blueshift mod, but I haven't unlocked them yet. Oh, uh-oh. Kraken strikes again. Personally, I blame persistent thrust because it jolted my craft. You know, I really hate persistent thrust, but I need it because some of these interstellar burns would be impossible without it. At least humanly impossible without it. But it's so buggy, it's so glitchy, it's just garbage. Okay, I auto-started all these. They shouldn't break off now. Good grief. Actually, I'm disabling persistent thrust. These engines are... You know, I haven't... In KSP Wayfinders, I purposefully didn't install persistent thrust. Not for this exact reason, it's actually for a really much worse reason, because with persistent thrust, any engines that couldn't throttle once you activated them wouldn't work with persistent thrust in career mode for some reason. Are you kidding me? Even with persistent... Oh my gosh. You know, I might want to start blaming the actual construction of this vehicle, just because... You know, I'm probably not going to do this. I'm probably going to have it on the back, like a normal spacecraft. Might as well have this huge station core. I mean, only one of these engines, it's not going to produce a whole lot. We have way less TWR. Wait, what if I tweak scale this cryogenic tank? And then I tweak scale this. Okay, it's way more thrust, but like, way more delta V, but not a whole lot of TWR. So I'm gonna scale this back down a little bit. Well, actually, I'm gonna use these, maybe I should use these spherical tanks. And I also get some really need for this adapter. It's a lot better, but I'm gonna have to, add a few more engines. I'll just add a structural tube to make sure they fit nice and flush. It looks a lot better. And it has similar stats. 4C, we still have good range on this. What does the giant mirror do? The mirror shield? It's just there for show, to be honest. It's really light and doesn't add a whole lot of mass. So I don't think it'll be an issue. No, I'm not even sure if I want to even... I'm not even sure if I should even have the shield in the first place. Just because, I mean, the warp drive acts like a bubble around the craft, which I guess in my headcanon acts as the shield. So maybe I don't really need to do that. If this breaks off again, I'm going to crap my pants. Uh-oh. Oh wait, I just gotta... There, problem solved. Be sure to auto structures like this, or else you'll have a Google reactor wheel set up. Now, this warp drive will not work because it's too close to a planetary body. So that's why I gotta pro myself out. Oh my gosh, I'm... Oh wait, this reactor isn't even active yet. Hold up. There, that's better. Yeah, persistent thrust doesn't play well with these engines just because they use electric charge and like electricity doesn't like work well in Kerbal Space Program. It'll think you're out even though you have plenty of it, which has also been the cause of Excalibur exploding when you time warp too much because the antimatter tanks stop containing the antimatter and explode your ship. I'm going to shut down these engines and activate the warp drive. If I can find it, that is. Yeah, here we are. Add warp capacity. What do you mean add warp capacity? Did I forget to... Oh wait, I remember. I forgot to turn on the auxiliary power. There we go. Now we have... Oh. See, this is the bubble I was talking about. What about the static charge thingies? Do they work automatically? Oh yeah, they work automatically. Okay, it was just a test run. I'm gonna set my course for Anubis and see if we get there. I still have Graviolum to spare. Plasma RCS seems to work well. Actually seems to have a good amount of control over the craft. Okay, here we go. Oh, this is a weird spec. This is the bubble I was talking about. We're traveling pretty fast, but like, no, still, we have such a time warp. I'm accumulating quite a bit of static charge, but hopefully I should be able to dissipate that. Okay, I've used like about half of my Graviolum. Also, when going to Anubis, you really gotta be careful because if you get too close to it, you enter the zone of instant obliteration and get absolutely nuked. So you gotta be really careful with that. If you have flashing lights, you might want to click off just because it's a really nasty visual glitch. I'll probably go... Okay, we can warp to Anubis and go home with a little bit of Graviolum to spare. But to be honest, I don't want to risk it. I'm going to add a few more tanks. I feel like the calculations for Blueshift are off. Because it says here, I can go there and back several times. But like, it seems I can only make a round trip once. So I'm going to add another tank of Graviolum and put my space agency in the deficit way more. Yeah, because I have a light year of range, so I should be able to go a little bit further and have a little bit more wiggle room. Now, in terms of speed, I still have a decent amount of speed. These static charge thingies are also doing their job effectively. Now what should I do? I should probably test to see if this can perform a round trip with a payload attached to it. So I'm going to use the payload we're doing with this mission. The Helium X. I'm also going to see if they fit on the docking ports. Why don't I drop the subassembly? Select the part is not attachable. Marvelous. Okay, I have an idea. How about I add a docking port? to simulate this docking port because this won't attach. Now I should be able to drop it in here. This will actually attach, so I won't have to worry about fiddling with it. Oh wait, no, it's a telescopic docking port. It won't do that, it doesn't have a node on it. Minor inconvenience. I'll just add another docking port to simulate it. Gotta remember to remove it when I'm done though, because that'd be pretty nasty if I didn't. You know what, this? Now for the moment of truth. Does this fit here? Barely. However, does it fit this way? Okay, for all purposes, I'm gonna use it this way. I should also probably move this antenna just because it doesn't get the best reception, I'm sure. If it's literally facing being blocked by something, I'm gonna put them here. I'm also gonna move the survey scanners a little further down the line. Now the land X. It also fits. Now this is the mission payload. How does it affect our range? Drops it by a very slight amount. Now, I only want to do one round trip with this, but I do want to have a little bit of wiggle room, just in case something happens and I suddenly can't warp back. I mean, these can harvest graviolum, so if they find graviolum in the, they do find any at the, in the exospheres of any bodies at, the Anubis system, they can harvest some and maybe make this thing reusable. I mean, as long as I can harvest graviolum, I can return the crew home. That's why I add those scanners for, those scoops. They also harvest hydrogen and a bunch of other stuff, so I can harvest hydrogen to refuel the Impulse Party sublight engines. Uh-oh. Okay, so for whatever reason, Kerbal Space Program crashed. That is not ideal. Okay, give me a second. I'm gonna relaunch Kerbal Space Program. That's probably just a one-time crash, like a one-time error. If it happens again, though, I'm really gonna start scratching my head. I'm gonna have to do like a look at the logs and all that stuff. I really hope that was just a bad luck crash that sometimes happens. I'm willing to answer any questions. Yeah, we can have a mini Q&A. That's what I was thinking, actually. I'll also take this opportunity to invite more people to my stream. So, mini Q&A. Feel free to ask any questions. I'm happy to answer them. What's your plan for wayfinders? Okay, so my plan for wayfinders is to land on every single planet and moon in Galileo's planet pack. And preferably complete the entire text tree as well. Just because that the gradual progression tech tree is a whole new tech tree for me, and I really like it so far. So I really would like to complete that. After I land on every planet, I'm thinking about either ending Wayfinders, or either expanding it by adding more planet packs, because I could add the Granis expansion pack. Yeah, Granis, which is a planet pack people used to use back when dinosaurs roamed the Earth. We're gonna make the large space station as an orbital hub. Probably that'd be really cool. Back to my thing about Wayfinders. I mean, I think someone made parallax configs for Granis expansion. I'm looking for them right now. Hold up. Oh yeah, Granis expansion pack has a volumetrics, but I don't think it has parallax configs. Hold up. So either I'm going to end Wayfinders or add the Granis expansion pack as like an expansion, because they're kind of made to be used together, I think. What is your favorite spacecraft? Like in real life or in fiction? I'm not sure. I like the way Starship is going. But I also really like the Falcon Heavy just because it's already tried and tested. And to be honest, I feel like if Starship doesn't work, it'd be a really viable plan B for a moon landing. Oh, both. Yeah, in terms of reality, either SpaceX is a Starship or Falcon Heavy. I mean, Dragon's also pretty cool. I like anything SpaceX. SpaceX is cool, but in fiction, I'm not sure. That basically like opens the floodgates of all the stuff I've made, all like Star Wars and a bunch of other stuff. I'm not sure. I mean, I really like the Star Destroyers in Star Wars. Like, they all look super cool. But in terms of what I've created, I really like the Helion space plane. Oh, and quick side note, mini Q&A is over. I got KSP to load again. Takes a hot minute to load because I have 30 gigabytes of mods. I only have 32 gigabytes of RAM, and Windows is hogging a whole lot of it. Who's your favorite KSP YouTuber? A whole lot of options here. I mean, I really like what Bogue is doing, because he has a whole lot of variety of content, especially with modded content. I mean, Matt Loung's a classic, but like, I feel like he's not really doing a whole lot of variety in terms of content. Like, most of his videos are just meaningless SSTOs. I mean, he's been dipping his toes into planet mods, but like in terms of part packs, he hasn't really done anything with that except for like restock and stock like station expansion Redux. Okay, let's try that again. Hopefully my... Oh, it's already on the launch pad. Oh, okay. I guess it crashed, but it still loaded it. Okay, if this crashes, I really gotta go into a bug fix mode. I've had to fix my KSP a few times. That reminds me, recently I went down like a really big rabbit hole trying to get Kerbal Space Program with mods to run on Linux, because I actually have Fedora on as a dual boot on my computer. I'm trying to get it to run with Proton, with like Promised Worlds and KSS2, which is basically like Steam's compatibility layer, which lets Windows games run on Linux. I've managed to get it to work. I mean, when I tried using Proton, it kept using my integrated graphics for some reason instead of my dedicated GPU, which is like really bad. Oh my gosh, what's going on here? What's it? Holy lag! Why is it so laggy, man? No, I'm not even using any of my resources right now. What the heck? I mean, why is it so laggy? Hold up. Okay, if I time warp, it goes away. It must be the physics. Maybe if I auto-strut these parks and stop simulating their physics, maybe it'll go away. I mean, Excalibur doesn't have this issue. Maybe it's because there's another bug. I don't know. It's so laggy, my gosh. Okay, back to my little KSP Linux rabbit hole. I figured out I put this command into the launch options. And now, basically it runs on Proton. But for some reason, it still nags me about using Proton as it's missing some graphics libraries. Holy lag. Why is it so laggy, man? It's because of these parts. I'm not sure why it's lagging so much. Okay, I'm out of Sanctuary Sphere of Influence. Now it's time to set a course for Anubis. Might as well enter Time Warp just to, kill the lag. I have no idea what's causing this lag. I gotta solve that later. Oh wait, I'm also having the Google reaction wheels set up. Could be the land X causing issues. That's normal FPS. I don't have a GPU. I have a 4070 Ti, and you may not be able to see this because OBS is only recording Kerbal Space Program, but on my performance overlay from NVIDIA, only 16% of my, oh, make that 30% of my GPU. Like 30 to 10% of my GPU, and like 15% of my CPU are being used, yet it's still giving me 9 FPS. What is going on? However, I engage Time Warp, all of a sudden, it jumps up to 50 FPS. What's the big deal? Oh my gosh, I can't wait for like Kerbal Kitten Space Agency to come out because Kerbal Space Program, as fun as it is, it's like really poorly optimized. Yeah, minor crash out. It's just like though, it's lagging. It's not using any of my components, yet it's lagging. Maybe it was like maybe I should relaunch a craft. Okay, I'm just gonna test if we can fly there. I mean, if I enable Time Warp, it stops lagging. Still a little laggy. Maybe if I like reload the game or like relaunch it, it'll work. I also want to cheat crafting here to see if there are any is any graviolum around the Anubis. My graviolum intake's actually looking really nice. In fact, actually, I'm able to do a round trip twice without refueling. I was a lot more efficient with what I got here. Up. Okay, it appears I've overshot. Go graviolum, good to know. It might be a issue because I kind of like did a really jank launch because it crashed my game. Maybe that's the issue. You know, this is something that will appear in a future episode. This is actually the series' first Warpship. I use these particle collectors to scan for graviolum around any of Anubis's planet, see if they have Graviolum. Refueling now, since that trip went really well, doesn't seem to be as much as an issue for me now. But, I mean, I do want to ping the resources. Yeah, call me a cheater. You know, I do have a Warp Scout in orbit. I could try sending it to Anubis to scout it out, but to be honest, I really couldn't be bothered. I just want to... Don't mind me, I'm just checking the resource distribution. I mean, I could do it once I get there, but, like, I want to know. Okay. Oh, I should probably activate this fusion reactor, too. Ping Graviolum. No Graviolum here. There's virtually nothing either. What about Sobek? It's probably the most interesting planet in the Anubis system. No Graviolum either. Marvelous. Oh, it does have a minuscule amount of hydrogen, though. How about Ankh? You need more probes and resurgence. Yeah, that would be nice. I feel like gradual progression tech tree solves a probe problem that, like, forces you to use probes. No Graviolum. Marvelous. There's a... What about around Anubis? What if you get a little closer? A little closer? Too close. And also we got some really weird lensing effects. Yeah, I do not want to get too close to Anubis or else you'll explode. You gotta be really careful of that, actually, because if we try cutting through the system and try to skip to another planet, it's gonna be a really bad issue. Now, there wasn't any lag, I believe, so maybe if I try launching this again, there shouldn't be any issues. I'm looking at my stream on my phone, and apparently there's like a weird data modge. Sorry about that. Okay, hopefully it doesn't lag, or crash my game, or both. Now, I kind of want to go back to what I was talking about, my KSP Linux install. For some reason, despite using Proton, it's still not... Oh my gosh, the game crashed again. The game crashed again. You know, that's it. I'm looking at my logs. This is just annoying me so much. Okay, what's going on? Saving advancements tree just cut off. Oh, maybe I should look at my app data, because apparently there's some crash logs there too. Where was... Hold up, I gotta Google this actually. Crash logs, how do I get it? It's an app data, local low. Where's the local low? Oh, searcher squad. Okay, back to my KSP Linux thing. Basically, I tried doing it, but it kept nagging me about not having certain graphics libraries, and like all the comic trails, all the cool effects from KSS2 and Promised Worlds are like pink, missing texture color. Local low isn't on here. Hold up. Oh, I found it. Never mind. Squad, Kerbal Space Program, player.log. What happened? Why it crash? Never thought I'd be diagnosing Kerbal Space Program in a live stream, but here we are. Uploading crash report. No, wait, never mind. Those are like normal crashes. Oh, here we are. Crash. It's like defer. Hold on, maybe it may be defer rendering. FMRS. Could it be FMRS tripping out? Okay, hold up. I'm not sure how to fix this. Well, maybe this is one of my outdated mods that I had. Yeah, yeah, it's pretty sad how sometimes we don't have the best computers to do stuff. I mean, I got Kakabalo to work to an extent on Linux, on my Linux, but for some reason it just wouldn't work with other mods. Okay, I have no idea what's causing these crashes. Oh my gosh. If this, maybe I have to like downscale my Warpship. Maybe if I remove the maybe it's a weird glitch with the physics. Maybe if I remove some of the extra craft I added and actually docked them normally, it would work. Okay, I guess I have another mini Q&A just because Kerbal Space Program crashed again. I should probably put the image back up now that I think about it. Oh boy. You know, to be honest, I'm not sure if I should probably also talk about what I want to do with this channel. I might want to start playing other games, but I feel like that won't really do well with the algorithm. How to make SSTO stock. Well, It depends on, well, SSTOs, you don't need the rapiers, actually. There's a lot of other stuff you can do. You can use the aerospike engines, you can use whiplash engines and terriers. Now, making SSTO is actually pretty easy with stock. Now, I'm assuming you have the rapiers. Those are like the best engines. Just build a plane that's aerodynamically stable. If you show the center of mass and center of lift, the center of lift should be slightly behind a center of mass. Also, you don't want to have too many parks, too many wings, or too many intakes, because those will add drag, and you do not want drag. Also, intakes, one shotgun intake can support a bunch of rapiers, but you might want to add a pre-cooler. I never have enough Delta V. I mean, you might want to add a little bit more fuel, then. I mean, if you're using the closed cycle mode on the rapiers, I would suggest adding a bit more, looking at your fuel when you run out. If you have a lot more liquid fuel, then you should probably add some more oxidizer to it. But not too much oxidizer, because that'll weigh you down on liftoff. Alternatively, you can just like use aero spikes just to be able to do that. I think Matt Lown did an aerospike only SSTO once. I mean, making an SSTO is actually extremely easy in stock Kerbal Space Program, just because the stock system is super small. It's only a 10th real scale. If you were to make like an SSTO in like say JNSQ, that would be a lot more difficult considering it's a 2.5 times scale. I was able to do that once, but like just once, just a SSTO that's only purpose was to reach orbit. Oh boy, I really hope this is just like a weird one-time issue. Hopefully this doesn't keep plugging my game. How I'm making M Mark III SSTO. Just kind of like take the same concepts, just add more engines to give you enough TWR. You know, it doesn't have to have too much TWR on liftoff. So with rapiers, they don't produce much thrust until you're going about, like, say, 440 meters per second. Because then once they start going MiG supersonic, they start producing a lot more thrust. And then it's that point where you start to ascend to like around 15,000 meters. And also recover the Nebulon. So, at 10 to 15,000 kilometers, you try to get a lot of speed, as much speed as possible. And then you just kind of go up slightly. And then when you start to lose thrust, you turn to a... When you start to, like, begin to be unable to accelerate, you start going... You enter closed cycle mode. And then you should be able to go onto orbit, assuming you have enough fuel. Now, I'm going to test this, and if it crashes my game, I'm going to crash out. Because I feel like my problem started when I added those spacecraft. I feel like something with the docking ports was bugged, especially how I clipped them together. It might cause the game to like have an aneurysm or something. Okay, I believe it crashed as soon as I, only a couple seconds after I clicked launch. So it's not crashing. So that should be a good sign. Also, for some reason, it zooms out really far when I launch it. And also, it's not lagging. I solved the problem. Okay, so it appears I have successfully designed a warpship capable of going outside. Hold up, I have a question. Can I like get a Kerbal on EVA? Is this like haze we'll get this haze obliterate them or something? I don't know. Can you get the mod comfortable landing? That adds like airbags and stuff, right? I might actually want to get that for KSP wayfinders. That seems like a comfortable landing. Adds adds floating airbags. Yeah, I feel like that'd be a really good mod for KSP wayfinders. Oh, look at this car going Tokyo Drift in the SPH. Yeah, I feel like I've gotten this pretty much settled in. I think I got a good Warpship. Should I end stream? I feel like I've gotten the Warpship thing designed. I think I gotta end stream, but I low-key want to design one more thing. And before I end stream, I'm actually gonna show you guys that I'm actually gonna test the Helion X in terms of descent. I've only tested landings and takeoffs, not actual atmospheric descent on Sobek. So I'm gonna test this space plane, and then I'm gonna end stream. Now I have tested this space plane. It is able to return to orbit, so that shouldn't be an issue. Has a really good amount of thrust in delta V. It can land on even the most hostile atmospheric bodies. I mean, probably not if it's too thick of an atmosphere, because then it'll explode. First, gotta activate the fuel cell. Make a very small base. That'd actually be pretty fun. Maybe I should put that in my payload. Now, I only use these two engines in a vacuum. These engines have close cycle modes, but they're extremely inefficient. Because when I activate close cycle mode on them, check how I have 17,000 meters per second. It goes down to 500. That's just how inefficient they are. They just suck up so much hydrogen, it's the worst. Really odd being like in a blue desert and seeing this thing in the sky, spinning every 2 seconds. I'm really worried this thing's gonna overheat and explode because this is a larger planet with a thicker atmosphere. I mean, the air brakes are always the first to overheat. I mean, the Helion is a pretty tried and tested flyer. I mean, it flies really well. It has lots of control. But I'm not sure about the Helion X. I mean, it's very similar, so I'm assuming it won't explode. I also do want to hold on to those air brakes just because they will be very useful for the VTOL descent. Because this does have VTOL engines. Do have to really fight a whole lot to keep this thing stable. Oh, I might as well turn off physics warp. Yeah, I might want to get MechJeb. I think I put MechJeb on Wayfinders just because I really want smart ASS. Because it'd be really... Okay, I might want to start tumbling just to kill off speed. Form a really wacky maneuver. Being still very easy control. It doesn't tumble like Phoenix or Fate. It actually just automatically wants to regain control, which is really nice. Hold up, if I like keep pressing B on the air brakes, I keep losing speed without exploding them. Okay, I'm going slow enough to that it won't immediately explode. Ah, we're on the mountains. Not ideal. I'm gonna land on this little mountain right here. I mean, I'm sure this won't stall because the atmosphere is actually somewhat thick. mean, in terms of VTOL, maybe it's because I'm not a good pilot. Being in terms of short landings, this can definitely excel. Don't worry, I have parallax collisions disabled so I don't explode by bumping into that rock. Oh, I'm gonna do a quick test of the lagger. Can I remove the helmet here? Oh, I can remove the helmet. That's pretty cool. I mean, this is a sub-habitable place, apparently. What, if there's a science definition? No, there's not. It's just a generic one. Okay, let's try a takeoff. So what happens with these, they tend to run out of electric charge. Uh-oh. Yeah, it appears I have scuffed the takeoff. I mean, I don't need to do a VTOL takeoff. I just add those engines because I feel like landing on the Oasis that Sobek has would be easier with VTOL capabilities. But either they're not configured correctly, or I just have a I'm just a very, very bad pilot. You can see, look, the center of mass is pretty much aligned perfectly. Maybe I should just do it a little bit more like... Maybe I should add reaction wheels to this. I could add the OPT one and actually use some liquid hydrogen. I'm not sure if that'll work with chemical technologies. I'll also add one of these in here. I might as well add another one over here. Now, first Kerbalism lathe mission. I've never tried Kerbalism, but from what I've heard, in JSQ, lathe is very radioactive, but I'm not sure about in stock Kerbal Space Program. So, I'm not sure. I've never had experience with Kerbalism before. I suppose you just beware the radiation belts, because Joule's a gas giant. Now, the main problem with these VTOL engines is that, moving still, they get no intake air. Okay, here they do. You know, I might actually like this more than the Helion, just because that VTOL capability is really nice. But for whatever reason, it really doesn't like doing VTOL on Sobek. I wonder why. Maybe I should add more intakes? Like vertical ones. Maybe there's like a special part for that. I could try using these ones, but that look a little jank. You know what? I feel like I've had a good run today. I'm gonna end the stream. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this live stream. I actually have a KSP Wayfinders episode coming out tomorrow, so please be sure to look forward for that. And I'll see you all later.